More now on the double vote claims in Georgia. Kentucky Senator Rand Paul joins us. He sits on the Homeland Security Committee, which will soon hold a hearing on voting irregularities. I believe that's coming up at 10 a.m. Eastern time this morning. Senator, thank you and great to have you here this morning. So what does all of this mean for the integrity of those Georgia runoffs, knowing that so much is at stake with this upcoming election?
Well, you'd think that all of this would be investigated and try to be fixed before the election. So if you have 1,700 people that voted twice, you would think that maybe they need to be charged and maybe not allowed to vote in the next election, or at least one of their votes canceled out. You would think that people who voted illegally from commercial addresses would be purged from the rolls. You'd think that they would check the death file and purge those who had died to make sure that they don't vote. I mean, we're going to hear testimony this morning from Nevada where 1,500 people were deceased and should not have voted. 4,000 people were illegal aliens, and 15,000 people voted from commercial addresses, and you have to vote from a home address.
Senator, what are we doing about it?
Well, here's the problem. Courts aren't very good at doing this. They just are very reticent to get involved. And so far, the court has turned down all of these appeals to look at the facts. No court has examined the facts. And this is sort of historically true. Courts don't like to do this. But even worse than this is it's sort of Obama-Rahm Emanuel's playbook. They took the crisis of COVID and then they changed election law. But they changed election law not by changing the law at the state legislature. They had secretaries of state and or governors simply by fiat change the law to say, oh, you can keep counting votes when the law didn't say that. So this election really was stolen in a way, and it was stolen because what happened is people changed the law. How can you change the law without asking the state legislature to do this? And I'm disappointed that the courts haven't heard it.
Really interesting. We'll follow what comes from the 10 a.m. gathering, where I know that is going to be discussed, Senator. Meanwhile, we just topped our hour with two big stories that are seemingly ignored by the mainstream media, and that is Eric Swalwell and Hunter Biden. In the case of Hunter Biden, the AP is reporting this morning that President Trump may be considering pushing for a special counsel to investigate Hunter Biden and his overseas business dealings, and specifically taxes paid on some of his income. Where does this go next? What do you want to see happen, Senator?
You know, the committee that I'm on that will meet in a couple of minutes on electoral fraud, we also investigated Hunter Biden, and we submitted a report, and I sent the report to the Department of Justice a month and a half ago asking for a criminal investigation. So I'm glad that it has commenced. And I think the only way we can be assured that it won't be swept under the rug is the U.S. attorney in Delaware who is doing the investigation should not be fired by Biden. This is going to be a very important thing we're going to find out the first week in the Biden administration. Is he going to fire the prosecutor that is investigating his son, or will let him stay on? Historically, the U.S. attorneys are all let go from one administration to the next, but I think in this case, it will be show a great deal of bias on Biden's part if he fires the prosecutor that's looking into his son.
Real quick, because I want to ask you about Eric Swalwell, but what would your expectation be on that, considering we've already seen how the president-elect has ignored questions from the media? And by media, I mean simply one of our reporters here from Fox News Channel asking really important questions about his overseas business dealings and that tax probe.
I think he's also been dishonest with us when he said he knew nothing of his son's overseas activities. I mean, we now have emails with Hunter Biden saying, hey, make sure you get a key for my dad, my mom, my uncle, and this Chinese national that I'm involved with that gave me a 2.8 carat diamond, uncut diamond or whatever. So there are a lot of things that we should be allowed to ask the president, but a lot of the media is not asking these questions.
It's really important. Final thought on Eric Swalwell, now a growing call from many Republicans who believe he should be removed from the House Intelligence Committee till they get more answers on his involvement with that suspected Chinese spy and whether or not he's compromised.
Yeah, I think to be careful and to cautious, he should actually resign from the Intelligence Committee. If he's not willing to do that, he should be removed from the Intelligence Committee. But I also think that what hypocrisy. This is the guy that was hurling stones and accusations, all kinds of false accusations at President Trump. Oh, he's controlled by spies and this and that. He was the most over-the-top critic of President Trump on Russia collusion, and it turns out he's sleeping with a Chinese spy. I mean, my goodness, the hypocrisy, it's appalling, and he really should be red-faced and ashamed of himself, and really probably ought to just resign from Congress.
We'll have a lot more on that coming up. Senator, really appreciate your time this morning. Thank you.
Thank you.